This is FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast.
FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. Get ready for the latest in film news, TV show news, and theatrical reviews. FilmBook's podcast starts now.
Hey everyone, and welcome to FilmBookCast, the official podcast of FilmBook. My name is Chris Banks. If you're tuning in for the first time, what I do on this episode is discuss the latest film and TV show news. I also review an in-theater film. You can find more about FilmBookCast on film-book.com by using the search term FilmBookCast. You can also email us at podcast@film-book.com with FilmBookCast in the subject line. Let's jump right into it this week. Let's check out some TV news for this week. Anybody a fan of Manifest? The show broke Nielsen's streaming ratings record with the sixth straight week over 1 billion minutes viewed. Unbelievable accomplishment as Manifest was finally knocked off its perch on Nielsen's weekly streaming ranking despite surpassing 1 billion minutes viewed for a record sixth week in a row. Manifest was canceled by NBC after 3 seasons earlier this year, but has become a mainstay on Netflix since it debuted its first season on the streaming platform in July. Returning Netflix original series Virgin River topped Manifest this week with more than 2 billion minutes viewed compared to Manifest's 1.3 billion. In third place with overall minutes viewed was Disney Plus's Loki, with just over 1 billion minutes viewed. Ever since Manifest was canceled, hopes for a renewal have circled amongst fans, and even the show's creator Jeff Rake, who also said that at the time that the show's cancellation was devastating, was hoping to find a new home for the show. He wrote on Twitter that you, the fans, deserve an ending for your story. Across the 3-season run, Manifest followed the passengers and crew of Montego Air Flight A28, who mysteriously returned 5 years after they were feared dead when the commercial airliner disappeared. The series stars Melissa Roxburgh, Josh Dallas, Aretha Karnakis, J.R. Ramirez, Luna Blaze, Jake Messina, Praveen Kaur, Matt Long, and Holly Taylor. Some more TV news from this week. HBO Max's Gossip Girl Part 2 will feature more original cast cameos and a Thanksgiving episode. Though it'll be a while for fans to see new episodes of HBO Max's Gossip Girl reboot, the wait will be worth it, as you're going to get more cameos from the alums from the original CW series, plus a continuation from the Thanksgiving episode tradition started by the Team Drama's predecessor. There's no series regular from the original coming back. Maybe that's not true. Part 1 of the Gossip Girl reboot first season included the appearance of Nellie Yuki and Milo, and the now preteen son of Georgina, both of whom were minor characters in the original CW show. The episodes also had multiple direct references to leads Blair Waldorf, Chuck Bass, Serena, Dan, and Nate. Fans of Gossip Girl have something to look forward to. Fans of the show Grace and Frankie this week were surprised when the first 4 episodes of the final season hit Netflix. As the country endures another surge in COVID infections, Netflix delivered a bit of good news. The streamer released the first 4 episodes of the 7th and final season of its comedy Grace and Frankie. No word yet on the premiere date for the remaining dozen half hours, but production is back underway. Exciting news for Grace and Frankie fans. Now let's switch up gears and head on over to some TV trailers for this week. A new clip got released from 9 Perfect Strangers from Netflix this week. Check it out as Melissa McCarthy enters the rehabilitation center, and we get a glimpse on the title of the clip is called You're Already Suffering, starring Nicole Kidman and Melissa McCarthy. Check out the teaser clip. It's about 3 minutes long, and we get a good glimpse of what's to come in the show. Moving on to a new TV trailer for this week is American Crime Story Impeachment. Check out the trailer. It's from FX. It'll talk about the Monica Lewinsky-Bill Clinton scandal, and the trailer made me think about how crazy it is that this actually happened. This trailer makes us see that our lives have started to weave in to entertainment, and this was the start of the tabloid culture with the Bill Clinton impeachment. Check out the trailer for Impeachment, American Crime Story. The last TV trailer we'll talk about this week comes from HBO Max, and it's The Other Two Season 2. It just debuted its official trailer this week, and the whole gang is back. Love seeing Wanda Sykes. The Other Two Season 2 premieres August 26th on HBO Max. Check out the trailer now. That's it for TV trailers. Let's switch up gears and head on over to some film news from this week. Will The Many Saints of Newark be David Chase's only Sopranos complementary material? It doesn't seem so, as a new interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the Many Saints director and Sopranos filmmaker revealed that Chase has already hinted to him about a plan to continue expanding the Sopranos franchise beyond Many Saints of Newark. David said something that sounded like he was talking about making more content. The Many Saints is set in 1967 against the backdrop of Newark, in the Jersey race riots. It follows a young Tony Soprano and his uncle Dickie. Dickie is the father of Christopher Moltisanti, played by Michael Imperioli in The Sopranos. The film will open in theaters October 1st, and it'll also be available on HBO Max. But very exciting movie news for fans of The Sopranos. In more movie news, George Clooney and Grant Hesloy's Smokehouse Pictures has landed the film rights to Across the River, Life, Death, and Football in an American City, the latest work of nonfiction from award-winning sports journalist Kent Babe. The book, published on August 10th, follows New Orleans' Edna Carr football team through its 2019 season as head coach Bryce Brown and his team, perhaps the scrappiest and most rebellious group in the program's history, vie to again succeed on and off the field. Although Coach Brown is preparing for a fourth title, he is really focused on something else: keeping his players alive. An epidemic of gun violence plagues New Orleans and its surrounding communities, and has claimed many innocent lives, including that of his former star quarterback Tolette Tonka George, who was shot in 2016 near a local gas station. The book is an investigation into the serious realities faced by young athletes in struggling neighborhoods, including gentrification, eviction, mental health issues, the drug trade, and gun violence. It offers a detailed portrait of a coach, his players, and the West Bank, a community where it's difficult but not impossible to rise above the chaos, discover purpose, and find a way out. Smokehouse Pictures president Carrie Foster acquired the rights to Across the River on behalf of the company. No word yet on when production will begin. Wrapping up the weekend film news is some depressing news, as it seems the recent surge in the pandemic has forced Sony to push Venom Let's Be Carnage from September 24th to October 15th. Let's hope that Venom comes out on the new scheduled date of October 15th. That's it for movie news for this week. Now let's switch up gears and head on over to some movie trailers for this week. Coming out this Christmas exclusively in movie theaters is a film by Denzel Washington, starring Michael B. Jordan and Shantae Adams, titled A Journal for Jordan. He plays a Sergeant Charles Monroe King, who's deployed to Iraq and begins to keep a journal of love and advice for his infant son Jordan. Back at home, senior New York Times editor Dana, played by Shantae, revisits the story of her unlikely, life-altering romance with Charles. Directed by Denzel Washington, the film is based on a memoir, A Journal for Jordan, a story of love and honor, by Kennedy. Virgil Williams penned the screenplay for what is guaranteed to be a tear-jerking account of a once-in-a-lifetime love and a powerful reminder of the importance of family and the all-too-human cost of war. Check out the trailer for A Journal for Jordan. It'll come out in theaters this Christmas. A powerful new movie trailer coming out in September is a new film that debuted at South by Southwest called Gaia. There is something ancient, powerful, and unimaginably dangerous living deep in the Tshiqikama forest in South Africa. While all the movie characters have a certain degree of reverence for nature when you first meet them, none of them can comprehend what sort of force they'll encounter as they move deeper into the coastal forest. Gaia's spin on our collective ecological anxieties veers in a markedly Resident Evil direction as foresty workers venture into the green where it's quickly separated. In addition to encountering curious traps, both Gabby and Winston gradually become aware of the presence of a strange fungus lurking all throughout the forest, a forest filled with creatures that want to kill them. Though Gaia definitely has some zombie movie overtones that evoke The Girl with All the Gifts, the truth about the forest that Gabby learns from the survivalist father, played by Carol Neal, and Stefan, played by Alex Van Dyke, is far more alarming than the normal plague of the undead. Horrific visuals that stick with you as the film slowly builds in the trailer. Check out the trailer for Gaia. It'll debut in theaters September 24th and digitally September 27th. The final movie trailer we'll check out this week stars Michael Keaton, and it's from Netflix, The Aftermath of 9/11, in the film called Worth. It's directed by Sarah Colangelo. She also directed The Kindergarten Teacher. Michael Keaton plays a lawyer tasked with calculating how to compensate the families of victims of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. He learns a lesson in empathy when he's faced with the near-impossible task of compensating families who suffered the incalculable loss as a result of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. How do you calculate the value of a human life? Check out the trailer for Worth. It'll debut on Netflix September 3rd. Alright, time for this week's movie review. For this week's movie review, you know what we're checking out. We're checking out The Suicide Squad, directed and written by James Gunn. Welcome to Hell, aka Belle Reve, the prison with the highest mortality rate in the US of A, where the worst supervillains are kept and where they will do anything to get out, even join a super secret, super shady Task Force X. Today's do or die assignment? Assemble a collection of cons including Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Captain Boomerang, Ratcatcher 2, Savant, King Shark, Blackguard, Javelin, and everyone's favorite psycho, Harley Quinn. Then, arm them heavily and drop them literally on a remote, enemy-infused island of Corto Maltese. Trekking through a jungle teeming with militant adversaries and guerrilla forces at every turn, the squad is on a search-and-destroy mission with only Colonel Rick Flag on the ground to make them behave. And Amanda Waller's government touches their ears, tracking their every movement. And as always, one wrong move and they're dead, whether at the hands of their opponents, a teammate, or Waller herself. If anyone's laying down bets, the smart money is against all of them. The Suicide Squad stars Margot Robbie, Idris Elba, John Cena, Viola Davis, Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, and I did not know that until I read the credits. Joel Kinnaman, you know who's in this movie. I was pleasantly surprised at how incredibly fun, biting, and funny this movie is. I was laughing throughout this whole movie. What a fun ride. The writing is sharp, the cinematography is beautiful, the filmmaking is grade A. Everything about this movie is amazing, and I was really disappointed at its box office performance because the preview performance actually performed pre-pandemic, so I was expecting that the film would do much bigger numbers at the box office at opening weekend. But having said that, the film itself is a tremendous accomplishment. It's one of the better movies I've seen. I'm going to start by talking about Viola because, wow, I think she's as strong as I've ever seen her in this film. She is so powerful and just a great performance. What I loved most about this movie is what you expected to happen doesn't happen, and what you don't expect to happen happens. And that's like the funnest component of the movie, I think, to me, because beautiful. It's amazingly shot. The cinematographer complements the storytelling. It's an amazing accomplishment. Idris is so great in this film in so many ways. Just Bloodsport is a great character, but he brings it a whole different level of nuance, and he's just amazing. And Margot does her thing. John Cena as Peacemaker is better than I thought it was going to be. He's actually really funny, and the character is perfectly placed in certain contexts. Sly does great with the shark. I did not know that he was the shark until I read the credits. I had no idea. Character complements the storytelling in so many different ways. You know, he's used as comedic relief most of the time, but it's actually really cool when he gets to play with the fish. It's just that this film is great fun. The action is good action. It's really good. Polka Dot Man is just great. You know, Thinker is played by Peter Capaldi. Very interesting character there and played very well. The Mongol is in this movie, but not like you think. Wait till you see it. It's great fun. I would give this film a solid 8 out of 10, maybe even 9 out of 10. Biting, it's funny, it's fun, the action's good. The cinematography is gorgeous. The characters are amazing. Everybody is on top of their game. Again, I'm just really disappointed that this wasn't the movie to kind of bust us out into regular box office mode again. But maybe we are in a new reality with what expectations in box office should be nowadays. But overall, the film is amazing. I think it's much better than the previous Suicide Squad. I would again give it a 9 out of 10. It's a little over 2 hours, but go check it out. It's in theaters. The Suicide Squad, directed and written by James Gunn. Solid 9 out of 10. Great film. Thanks so much for checking us out this week. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of FilmBookCast. You can find more of my work on film-book.com. Just search for Chris Banks or FilmBookCast. You can also find me on Twitter. I'm at cbanksy. That's S-E-E Banksy. And I'm on Instagram, at the Chris Banks. If you listen to this podcast on iTunes or another podcast service, please consider rating and reviewing this episode. If you're listening to this podcast on our YouTube channel, FilmBook Podcast, please like our video, subscribe to our channel, and leave us a comment in the comments section. It really helps other people discover our podcast. Please also consider becoming one of our patrons on Patreon at patreon.com/filmbook. Your support helps us create more engaging content. You'll find our Patreon link below in the description. If you want to tweet about this podcast, please do. Use the hashtag FilmBookCast. Tune in next week for the next episode of the FilmBookCast. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you then.